Welcome back. We are glad you are still keeping us company here on Good Morning Kenya. And in case you are just joining us, Karibu Tena Sana. I am Jain Wambui. Remember, you can always talk to us, share with us your thoughts in regards to these discussions that we are having here with you. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jain Wambui across all the social media platforms. And should you need to leave, the comfort of your home or where you are right now, remember you can always stream us live through our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke/KBC-live, and you'll be able to keep with the conversation. Now we want to move on to our health segment for today. And today we want to look at what we put in our plants and how it affects us as humans, looking at the impact of agrochemicals on our plants and consequently on the human health. And to help us with this conversation today, we have with us in studio Eric Kimunguyi, who is the CEO of the Agrochemical Association of Kenya. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us. We appreciate the time. Now, let's just start with the basics, straight from the word agrochemicals in itself. When we talk about agrochemicals, what does it encompass or what does it refer to?
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for this opportunity for us to share some of the knowledge we have with the viewers. When we presume that agriculture is not only for farmers, it's for everybody because we eat food. When we talk about the agrochemicals. First of all, let me give you a small background of Agrochemical Association of Kenya and the basis with which it was created. Agrochemical Association is a membership organization of all companies that bring in inputs, I'll say inputs, for control of pests that destroy our crops. So it is a membership organization, and whose responsibilities are to make sure that farmers are using these products in more responsible way, so that we enhance sustainability of the environment. Responsible way means that they respect the labor recommendations that have been put in place for their health, for their own safety, for the safety of the environment, and for the safety of everyone else.
Yes.
It has been there for the past 60 years, doing the work, reaching the farmers, complementing the government in terms of extension services, and doing quite a lot of things in training farmers, bringing innovations that will help farmers achieve that. Now, back to your question.
Yes.
When we mention about agrochemicals, now forget about Agrochemical Association of Kenya. Agrochemicals are inputs. And many people loosely define agrochemicals as anything that goes into. We have seeds, we have crop protection, products that defend or support crop to grow, fertilizers, biostimulants. All these things that farmers are using are largely categorized as agrochemicals. For us, and not only in plants, we also have inputs that go into animals. We have to control ticks. We have to control diseases in animals. We have also to control the vectors that transmit malaria, the dengue, the problem. So it is a wider perspective that when you look at it's consolidated in terms of food, it touches on our health, and more particularly not only food supporting health, but also managing vectors that will transmit similar diseases. In your house, you have roaches, cockroaches, and everything else. I'm not saying they are, but in many houses you'll find that. And we develop those innovations that make you more comfortable.
All right. Now, for agrochemicals to have been in use for this long, they are doing something good.
Yes.
And for most of people, we tend to look at, okay, it's serving this particular purpose. But generally speaking, what are the purposes of these agrochemicals, and especially on the plants?
One of the questions that we need to pose is, how will the world appear without agros? But we will not go to that discussion today. So when as I mentioned to you, now narrowing down for agrochemicals, and we're going to the pest control products, which are called pesticides. Okay? Pesticides, they manage pests. We have categories. We have products that are put to control insect pests. Pests that even in your kitchen garden, you will find that we have products there that when you spray, they control those whiteflies or aphids, pests that eat onto your leaves. We have diseases. Just like humans, plants get sick. Plant gets lice. We have people who have lice and everything. Yes, you see, we have people who have. You remember the doodles that go into the toes. We have nematodes. Those are insect pests that affect plants just like humans. So the plants, for them to optimally grow, because if you plant a seed and the breeder promises for you to harvest such a quantities, it's assumed that they are not going to invade pests. If you don't manage that pest, you are going to lose 40 to 100% of the pest. Okay, so what we come in is we enhancing the promise in the seed that farmers has been promised to produce 100 kgs per given area. So our work is to make sure that those assumptions are maintained to the harvest.
Plus or minus.
Exactly. So that is the role of, we have insecticides, we have fungicides, and we have herbicides. You remember, herbicides contribute a lot in terms of weeding. School-going children. And you can, by the way, if you do a socioeconomic impact of using of herbicides, the number of school-going children have gone up because people are using herbicides. The issue of zero tillage, contribution to climate change. We are not opening up land because we are using herbicides to manage weeds. So these are the innovations that even help in terms of sustainability. Not only enhancing food, but producing food in a more sustainable way, so that at least we leave the universe to the next generation.
The whole ecology is catered for.
That is what we do in bringing about this innovation. So those three categories are very important. And also they touch on the plants and also on animals. Animals that have ticks.
Consequently,
yes. I mean, even animals, we have to manage ticks. For you to have a good beef, good milk, antibiotics, we have to treat animals. They get sick as well. So all these products must be provided. The malaria, right now we are controlling malaria vectors, trypanosomes, tsetsefly, all, and recently you saw locusts.
Just the other year.
So basically, when you look at the importance of these particular innovations to farmers, it's immense. But then they must be used in a more responsible way.
And maybe you could tell us a bit about the patterns from the farmers that you have been able to interact with and the data that is available when it comes to the usage of these agrochemicals. Has it been on an upward trajectory, or is the farming population not using them as effectively or as much as they need to?
Yeah, so first of all, now, for pesticides to work, they have to kill. Meaning they have an element of poison in them.
Side.
Exactly. So poison, insect, and everything else. Anything that has potential to kill. And therefore, government have responsibility to manage that. And in Kenya here, just like any other countries in the world, you can mention them, it is the responsibility of the government to protect its people. And therefore, when products are, this product goes through a registration process. You identify an opportunity this product can control aphids. You submit studies to National Regulatory Authority called Pest Control Products Board. Data, volumes of data to show that this product is safe in the environment, in soil. It is going to affect drinking water. It's not going to affect the applicators. And by it to be safe, does it mean the benefits outweigh the disadvantages? Yes, the cost-benefit analysis must be done. Yes. We have the experts in risk assessment who sit there, look at your package. You bring samples. They are tested here for 3 to 4 years. They look at it and they say, fine, the benefit. In the event that the benefits is not very important to this country, then it's not going to see the registration. It will not come into the country. So it's the products that are approved are only that meets the Kenyan standard. They are beneficial to the people. They are safer to human beings. But remember, farmers must use them under recommendation. So Pest Control Product Board approves product to be used, what rates, amount of product that you're going to use, what intervals, withholding period are you going to wait before you harvest, and that when you are going to, and how you are going to dispose of that container. So it is from end to end. From manufacturing, there is the responsible management, coming to the regulator. When it goes to the market, it is the government checking it and everything. So it's approved. So products that are not approved will not see the light of day in this country. Now, that brings me to now the farmer who's involved in this particular value chain. Yes. And looking at our country, agriculture is one of the principal sectors. Yeah. Large scale, small scale. Where would you gauge the awareness of our farmers looking at, what you're saying when it comes to the usage, the quantity, intervals, how long you need to wait before you harvest, and knowing that this has been approved and it is safe to use on my crop, and consequently, even I can consume what I'm planting? Yeah, Basically, just to tie up with the other question that you asked, in terms of driving, what is driving? The only thing that can drive consumption of these products is increase in agriculture, growth in agriculture, opening up of land. And you realize even when we had the issue of locusts, we had to buy in products that we have never bought in the last 50 years. So that one will drive consumption. Markets, East African growth and everything else.
Emerging trends.
Yes. Now, your question. So pesticides will not just be imported for sale.
Just because?
No. Somebody, if you see growth in pesticides, there is growth in production.
Demand and supply have to balance
Otherwise,
it out.
why will you bring pesticides to do what? Yeah, it's mainly there. What is driving is the forecast of economic development. Now, bringing your question back home is that's the challenge we have: awareness. If you can imagine, you have 6 million farmers doing agriculture. You know the nature of our agriculture is fragmented, smallholder farmers and everybody else. So various things have happened to improve production, but still the level of awareness is
wanting,
but sometimes we are convinced that it's about discipline.
How so?
Yeah, and you can see in the roads, you don't do this, people are doing this. People deliberately, what politicians call impunity, is people know what they're supposed to do, but they do the wrong things because of market. I'll give you an example.
Yes.
You go to a farmer. Farmer is aware that this pest needs to be controlled by this product, this insecticide. He buys, he applies the right way. Then somebody comes and tells, because he has a tender, he has want to supply Sukuma Wiki in school for something else. Then he misleads the farmer by increasing the price before the withholding period is done. So you are not respecting the safety of Kenyans as approved by the government that harvests this crop based on that product. Withholding period is 4 days. Now, whose responsibility is that? You have the information, the product has been registered, has a label on it. It tells you, please apply this product, wait for 5 days. But because of a commercial interest, then you're harvesting that crop and going to do this. And that's the reason why we are partnering with county governments. We know agriculture is devolved unit,
yes,
and we are moving around with county governments, talking to them about the responsibility. How do we create awareness? And that is the missing link. That between the manufacturer to the end user, the missing link is always the farmer. Because the supervision, who takes the responsibility when the farmer doesn't do that? And then it brings about the whole discussion, the food safety discussions. That if we have approved, or pest control products have approved a product, and said you have to put these amounts of pesticides on it, you have to wait all this period, and the farmer doesn't respect it, then you're posing the danger to farmers, to other consumers. Somebody must take responsibility. But however, as part of our responsibilities, we are training farmers, reaching them through modern ways. Farmers have become digital. The number of smartphones have increased. We are doing the digital platforms, creating smaller videos, pushing them how to use, how to respect what we call the withholding period, period to wait, before the pre-harvest interval, sometimes called pre-harvesting. Yeah. So farmers must wait for that. Farmers must protect themselves while spraying. They have to put on personal protective equipment.
That's a whole other area.
That's exactly. Those are the area that you remember even the issue of COVID. People never knew how we can utilize. But now everybody is aware that we have to protect. And the same message must sink to the farmers, that we have to protect ourselves. We have to apply the right product. Because if you apply the right product and the right thing, you are not harming the environment. And therefore, through that approach, you're also contributing to sustainability. You're going to harvest your crop, but then leave the world or the universe to the next generation. And that's basically what we're trying to do. But agriculture can be done in a more sustainable way.
All right. Yeah. And now looking at bringing in the human link and understanding, the effects that agrochemicals have on the human health. And let's just start with the farmer themselves and the fact that you've brought out, personal protective equipment.
Yeah.
If we are alive to the situation, it is not something that every farmer embraces when it comes to wearing gloves, putting on gumboots that are necessary, goggles, whenever you are applying some of these agrochemicals. How can that be emphasized when it comes to understanding the consequences that come with not using versus the benefit that comes with using? And especially looking at the fact that we have more small-scale farmers than large-scale farmers.
Yeah. As I mentioned, it ties on to what we just explained, that when PCPB, Pest Control Products Board, authorizes a product, it authorizes a product under certain constraints. Okay? Certain limitations. So the farmer must put on this. All that information is communicated on the product label. And further, that it's been communicated in English and Swahili. And what we have done is that we're training the farmers. making sure that you use this product well, you must find access to personal protective equipment. And sometimes you have to improvise. Not only to buy, you have to improvise.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you have to protect the body, if you have a cotton covering, then you're really protecting yourself. In the event that you cannot afford that. And because the use of pesticides comes with a need, you have seen a pest, you have seen a threat on your farm. You can't just buy when you have not seen a threat to your harvest. And therefore, if your harvest is threatened, then your livelihood is harvested. So that product is safe to be utilized under that circumstance. However, we recognize that we have gaps in certain aspects, particularly in the dispensing at the aggregate level, what needs to be done, because that is like the prescription.
Over the counter.
Yes, it's over the counter. What is the problem? Then they say, okay, I guess that is what is the problem.
And
probably misdiagnosis and everything else. So what we have done in the current by the way, the Act of PCPB is being revised. We have a very pragmatic law, I believe, and we are confident that it's going to sort out those kind of issues, so that we demand that a certain level of accountability to that person prescribing or giving advice to a farmer, that he knows, he understands the problem, so that you direct the farmer in the right way. Another thing also we are planning to do, because we have identified those weaknesses, that access to personal protective equipment also will be a challenge to a smallholder farmer. And this is why we are bringing together governments and manufacturers of personal protective equipment, so that we encourage them to locally produce, so that farmers can access it. We are also talking to companies to come up with safety days, so that we create a lot of awareness to farmers, so that farmers can know that in the event that I cannot afford prescribed personal protective equipment, and I know the material that is required for this material, I can improvise based on my waste clothes.
The alternatives that I have.
I protect myself from the exposure. But more innovatively, as an industry, what we are trying to do is that we have come up with a concept and said, how can we remove this burden of farmers spraying into a special team called the spray service providers? These guys, we believe, is the next frontier for extension, because what they are going to do is go to the farmer, identify the products, buy the product, and come and spray, and they leave the farmers clean.
Basically,
farmers
just
to pay the service.
Yeah.
Now, what we do as an industry, we can generate so many, but in terms of accelerating and integrating that into a day-to-day practice, then we need support, and that's why we have engaged with county governments, national governments, to escalate this concept, so that it complements the extension in the county level, and we believe this one is going to change the game.
Game changer.
In terms of food safety, in terms of safety to the farmers, in terms of farmers even holding the pesticides, and in terms of also the trade between them and those guys prescribing. So this is the next frontier that we believe, if supported, we get enough support and take it and is adopted by county governments and with support of national government, integrated into laws and everything else. Already we have put it in, recognizes the pest control products bill that is under discussion currently. And we believe that that way, the agriculture is going to change. And even the youth, we are changing. The youth are becoming more involved in agriculture. You remember the recent COVID?
Yes,
it was the only industry that had resilience, and people went, everybody, it became a default profession, not for retirees, but now it's changing. The youth are becoming more conscious with agriculture. And youth may not spray, and the uptake of spray service providers is going to increase, apart from creating jobs.
Cutting the cost of production.
Yes. So those are the things that we believe that it is the integrated approach, but they're going to sort quite a lot of problems, particularly where farmers intentionally want to not to change their behavior, or it's mischief because they want to sell products, or they want to do their own things and everything.
All right. Now, still looking at, the human component and the consequences on the human health, there have been, researches that have been done that say, there are agrochemicals that in one way or the other lead to certain illnesses among the human population. Cancers have been given as an example, cardiovascular diseases, just to mention but a few. From where you stand, what percentage of the agrochemicals that are used on plants reach the food that we get to consume? And if they do, whether cooked or raw, what effects do they have on the human health?
That's a challenging question. Probably but I'll tell you this. When products are applied the right way, you are going to get either zero residues, and therefore you are safe, and two, the levels that you're going to be detected are below quantities are within the safer limit, basically. So that's the role of Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate, Pest Control Products Board, and Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services to handle that. Now, you have mentioned a very critical aspect, that there are studies that have been done to show that causal relationship. We have not seen any causal relationship, but we have seen suspicion. We
no
have
direct link.
Yeah, there's no direct link.
But this has happened.
But we have seen, a deliberate effort to link these so that we remove certain products from the market. But then you ask yourself,
yes,
a product that is carcinogenic, a mutagenic, that causes mutation, and has a reproductive effect, meaning that they'll affect the production and everything else, will not even go through PCPB. A product with that property will not see the effect, will not go through registration process. So what I tell you, just to answer your question, that before you bring a product here, you do your studies on animals, because you cannot do it on human beings.
Trials, yeah.
Exactly. You do it on animals to demonstrate that this product is not carcinogenic, and the probability that this product will be carcinogenic. This product is not mutagenic at all. It's not going to cause any mutations. This product has no reproductive toxicology. Even if it is classified somewhere else as a mutagenic, that is the first criteria. Cut-off criteria, it will not come through. Now, but eventually we have other effects. You remember, even in the human drugs, you find that there's some side effect. You find that, if you inhale this product, at a particular level, it's going to have those small responses that you'll find it on the product label, giving the signs of poisoning, that you'll feel these are signs of poisoning, which will come because of exposure, which will come because of deliberate suicide. Okay? Then people are taking suicide, they can take poisons, people are killing themselves with guns. It's about responsibility.
Yes.
But we don't have a causal relationship established that these products are causing or contribute to increase in cancer. Because when you look at the things that are causing cancer, I'm not a medical doctor. I think I shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm just commenting because of what I know. The previous cancer, that one we leave it to doctors to mention. But in terms of this, if we have not seen a study linking that, and if there was such kind of a study, if it's submitted to authorities, the scientists will evaluate and withdraw the product.
All right.
And in fact, as we speak currently, PCB is reviewing products based on the claims put in National Parliament. Remember the petition?
Yes, and I would like to get your thoughts on that, because we've had her here before, and she mentioned about 600 or something pesticides that are being used by farmers that are very harmful, and especially to the human population. As the Agrochemical Association of Kenya, where do you stand when it comes to some of these claims?
Yes, it's good, there are claims, and we leave the authorities to prove those claims. The claims are that these products have been withdrawn in EU. EU is one of the biggest markets we know. We export to EU. EU have got policies. The shift in policy, and say, for instance, pesticides are registered under two principles, two philosophies. You either take a risk-based approach, where a risk-based approach, you do the trade-off. What is the risk and everything else, and we approve the product. The other way, you a cut-off. This product, I'm not going to register it. So if Europe takes that position, Kenya has not taken that position. And we live in a global world. USA has not taken that position. And that is a difference in terms of principles. So that's what you need to understand. But of course, people must throw things out of proportion. For you to make decisions in Parliament, you have to use emotions and everything else. But it's glad that PCPB is reviewing it, and we will leave it to PCPB to make that decision. But remember, science evolves.
Yes.
It's not static. These products were registered a long time ago. But if there's new information that proves otherwise, in terms of the classification of products, whether they're carcinogenic or whatever, and everything else, then data must be submitted, as PCB have already called for submission of data. And if that one is, the new data shows otherwise. But it's not about cherry picking a report and trying to justify. But data must be validated by other scientists. It must be acceptable. You can take that data in Europe and say, yes, you can take that data. Remember, we're working global.
Internationally.
So it's not just about you did a study in the Nandi Hills or wherever, and you aren't going to take it there. You have to bring data that has been peer-reviewed by guys that say, this one is fact, can be accepted somewhere else. Because we are making regulatory decisions these products are making globally, because products, we are doing trade in food, trade in this product. So, and also human health is a critical component.
All right. Now, as we draw this conversation to a close, maybe what will be your recommendations looking at everyone who is part of the value chain, and especially agriculture, again, being a principal sector, straight from the farmer to you and I as the consumers, understanding the role of agrochemicals and, understanding that it's part of the value chain to make it what it is today?
For me, is agriculture still remains the backbone, if I'm not wrong. And if agriculture is to remain the backbone, let's not try to remove discs in the backbone, because we will not carry. Removing discs is by, you know your backbone?
Yes.
You removing discs, you are weakening the backbone and you will not carry the economy. So let's support agriculture. Let people. One thing I have noticed that people have not understood the role of pest control products in agriculture and in socio-economic development as a continuation. So we are going to engage further in sharing information about the role of this. And more critical, you have mentioned that everybody must play his role. Consumers start demanding for safer foods. And please demystify the issue of food safety so that it is not about pesticides or plant protection products. Because pesticides are the most evaluated products, and I can tell you with certainty, when you spray this product, when you eat the product, will be safe for you. But we have issue of food handling, transportation. You move into markets. Move into markets. Go to Mukulima markets.
Handling is another issue altogether.
Go to Kangemi market. Look at how your food is handled. So let's start demanding safer food in all angles as consumers. And even in Europe, they started demanding safer food. Started demanding what? And there is KS 1758 is Kenyan standard that has been launched that is going to address some of these issues. So if everybody played his role in terms of understanding what I'm eating, kitchen gardens is going to feed you, but it's not going to feed your neighbor, and therefore we shouldn't transfer the burden of food to the government, because if we transfer the burden of food to government to start importing food in Tanzania, wherever else, then we are killing our economy. So what we need to do is we have a good market. Let's do kitchen gardens for those who can do kitchen gardens. Understand your kitchen garden. You can do even organic farming in your kitchen garden, but organic farming will not feed the entire world. So, but all these technologies must be used responsibly. Let's understand the products. Where we don't understand the products, let's pray. And as an industry, we are going to be more innovative. Like the spray service provider, if you can take time and be playing, let farmers understand the role of these guys. We're going to remove the responsibility of handling these particular products onto crops and the food safety benefits that will come into place, then we'll be moving in the right direction. But if everybody played his role, the seeds, the breeders, the breeding seeds for us, fertilizer, they're giving nutrition to us. We have biostimulants, are improving the quality of the produce, and we are protecting the produce, the promise, that yield from harmful pests and diseases, then you are going to we're going to transform this country.
Absolutely.
And we are going to feed the people food and nutrition security. And beyond that also, we are going to control you against bugs that are disturbing you, malaria, cockroaches and everything. And that's why we are in this industry.
I like that. I like that concept that you have about, helping make it easier for the farmers when it comes to spraying their crops. Basically, dialer spray, to help cut the cost and eventually make production a healthier process as a whole. That brings us to a close of this conversation. We have been speaking about agrochemicals and looking at the human health as, the link between the two, and just trying to better position you when it comes to knowledge and it being a powerful tool for you and I. We have been speaking with Eric Kimunguyi, who is the CEO of the Agrochemical Association of Kenya. Thank you once again for making time.
Thank you very much. We look forward for more opportunities like this.
Absolutely. Fantastic. That is that. Be sure to join us again tomorrow morning. For now, it is bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. I am Jain Wambui.
Thank you. Good.